a comprehensive look at trends, fund profiles, and more in Exploring ETFs.
Hi everyone, welcome to Exploring ETFs. I'm Neena Mishra, and today we are talking about space ETFs. Now, space ETFs have gathered a lot of attention in recent weeks because Cathie Wood's ARK investment, they filed for a space exploration ETF, and the ETF launched just about 11-12 days back, and it is one of the most successful ETF launches ever. This ETF managed to gather more than 500 million in assets within a week of its launch. And that is not surprising because Cathie Wood and ARK, they have huge retail following now. And I have discussed ARK ETFs earlier this year. And in that video, I took a deeper dive and explained why ARK ETFs benefited so much from the work from home trends last year. But their performance before last year was not exactly spectacular. It was good, but not as great as last year. So it remains to be seen whether they can continue their performance in future too. In fact, they haven't done so well this year, but Cathie and her firm, they continue to gather assets. That's why there's so much interest in their new ETF as well. Now, there are reasons to invest in space because this is an area which is growing very fast. In fact, according to Morgan Stanley, space economy could generate revenues of more than $1.1 trillion, up from about $350 billion in 2018. And the main reason for this exponential growth in the space-related revenues and space economy are that the launch costs have been declining rapidly with innovations in technology, and we see increasing use of satellite-based navigation in so many areas now. Now, looking at Cathie's ARK ETF, many investors were not impressed by the holdings because their ETF takes a really broad view of what is space exploration and navigation. Anything that benefits from space-related activities could be included in that ETF. For example, any business that benefits from global connectivity due to satellites or internet or artificial intelligence, everything is included in that ETF. So, for example, if satellite internet becomes more widespread, then companies like Netflix could benefit. So Netflix is included in the portfolio. Then agricultural company John Deere is included in the portfolio because they could benefit from better satellite-based navigation for their self-driving tractors, lawnmowers, etc. Then their own ARK's own 3D printing ETF is included in the portfolio because so many rocket parts are not now 3D printed. So it's an interesting portfolio, and whereas these companies are included, some pure play space companies like Maxar Technology are not included, and according to ARK, some of the space companies have very rich valuations. That is why they have not been included. Now, one more thing I wanted to say before we take a look at these ETFs is that there are not many pure play space companies available to investors as of now because the two most high profile space companies, Elon Musk's SpaceX and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, they are currently privately owned. But there are other space-related companies which are included in ARK Space ETF and the other two space ETFs that we are taking a look at. So the first one obviously is by ARK. It's the ARK Space Exploration and Innovation ETF, ticker symbol ARKKX. ARKKX, and as the name suggests, it holds space exploration and innovation companies and takes a really broad view of what those companies are. This is actively managed like ARK's most ETFs and has gathered 640 million in assets now. It charges 75 basis points in expense ratio. To take a look at this ETF, learn more about it, you can go to the quote page on Zacks.com. From there, the external home page, and you can look at the holdings. And as I mentioned, the 3D printing ETF by ARK is the second largest holding in the ETF. And, some other holdings which I mentioned surprised investors. You can take a look at all holdings and you will see companies like JD.com, Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, Deere. These people had not expected, Alibaba, Netflix, these people had not expected to be in the ETF, but since they take a broad view of what space-related activities are, so that's why they are in the ETF. Now, the second one which I'm talking about is by Precure. It is called the Precure Space ETF, ticker symbol UFO. Very interesting ticker symbol. This is actually the first and I would say the only pure play space ETF, if you consider that some of those companies like John Deere and Netflix are not exactly space companies. This also charges 75 basis points and has 135 million in assets, and this was actually the biggest beneficiary of Cathie Wood's announcement because it quickly gathered assets and some of its holdings sold after the announcement. Again, to take a look at the ETF, you can go to the quote page on Zacks.com. I had done a podcast with the provider. That's pretty interesting. You can listen to that. And then you can go to the external home page. They have some interesting literature and you will see more pure play space companies in the portfolio like Orcom, Trimble, Garmin, Dish Network, etc. Now, the third one I'm talking about is by Spider S&P Kensho Final Frontiers ETF, ticker symbol Rocket. This holds deep sea exploration companies as well, in addition to space-related companies. This has an expense ratio of 45 basis points. It's also the smallest with 24 million in assets. Again, to learn more, you can go to the quote page and read our articles, go to the external home page, and you can look at what it does and its holdings too. You will see that Maxar Technology, Aerojet Rocketdyne, Northrop Grumman, L3 Harris, Boeing, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, these are the top holdings in the portfolio. So you will see some overlap between all three ETFs, but I would say not a lot overlap, even though all three are space ETFs. Now, on this slide, I have the comparative performance versus the S&P 500 index, and I have included only UFO and Rocket in the comparative performance over the past year because ARK ETF is so new. So you will see that UFO is up more than 65% over the past year, and a lot of surge came after Cathie Wood's announcement when some of its holdings like Maxar and Virgin Galactic soared after Cathie Wood's announcement. And the other ETF is more or less similar to S&P 500 index in terms of performance. And on the final slide, I have also included the ARK ETF since its inception, and you will see it as actually the worst performer, but I would say that this is still very new, so we cannot judge the performance as of now. And again, since inception, the Precure Space ETF is the best performer. Thanks for watching. make sure to check out zacks.com/promo for an interesting offer. And also make sure to subscribe to our videos so that you do not miss any episode. And I'll see you next week.